breaking the fourth wall.
Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to the Dirt Sheet Radio NXT post-show rewind for April the 16th, 2024. I am Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster, over on Facebook. And CJ, go ahead, man, introduce yourself, and let's hop into tonight's main event.
Oh, you know me, at CJ Carter on Twitter. Just here to talk NXT every week, as always. This week in particular had its ups and downs with me, so I'm looking forward to talking about it tonight.
Absolutely. All right, so tonight's main event saw the Stand and Deliver rematch between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes in a steel cage tonight. Presumably the blow off and end of this long and heated feud. Got a little overbooked there at the end. I didn't feel the inclusion of the security staff was really necessary. Hey, some would say having this match wasn't even really necessary. But CJ, what did you think?
I disagree that it wasn't necessary. It was necessary for me to enjoy, like the next 18 hours. This was a phenomenal match. I loved that Trick got as over as he has in NXT. It really reinforces that both of these guys are main event ready, or main roster ready. They are on the right path. They have all the momentum in the world. And even if they decided that they wanted to carry this feud specifically onto SmackDown, I'd be fine with that. If they decided to split them on, Melo goes to SmackDown and Trick goes to Raw, I'd be fine with that too. Or if they kept Trick down in NXT for a little while, gave him a run with the title, I'd be fine with all of the above. It's just Trick and Melo being Trick and Melo. They are very talented with their in-ring skill, and I look forward to seeing them wherever they end up.
Absolutely. Now, the match itself went about 12 minutes. In terms of time, how did you feel about that? Because I will say, just from a personal standpoint, something didn't click as well for me tonight with this match. I feel like this is far from their best outing together. I think obviously they had more time to stand and deliver as well, but it just that match team just leaps and bounds. This felt like it should have taken place chronologically before the stand and deliver match, just in terms of, I don't know, I guess kind of the pacing of the match.
Well, I do agree that the finish was overbooked. I agree with your point about the security guards. That part did feel like it went a little bit long. You didn't need to have that much involvement just
and
to
the one was losing his damn pants. He had to stop going out the cage to pull his fucking pants up.
But I mean, for them to ultimately have
about wrestling, you'll have guys they'll hit the mat and adjust their shirt or their tights and then get hit. It's wrestling. I should just accept it.
I mean, it's still one of those things that, love or hate, it's entertaining at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I do have to say, though, nothing really takes the heat out of a cage match like watching referees assemble it like my 3D Titanic puzzle, which, by the way, is freaking massive. My sister got it for me for Christmas, and I want to show it off since I brought it up. And I just took off half the shit on my dresser, but there it is. This thing is freaking massive. I've got several shelves, and it doesn't fit. Hang on.
Now, wildly enough, I'm going to assume that it took you much longer to assemble that than it took the referees to assemble the steel cage tonight on NXT.
It does have lights. And yes, it did take me considerably longer.
But definitely a solid main event for tonight's show, leading into night one of spring break to take place next week. And again,
I think Spring Breakin' is honestly a hell of a card. Like, they really did a great job setting up for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then, hey, and after that, we're into the draft after that, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about later as well. But CJ, man, anything else on the main event this evening?
It's well, not even so much the main event, but just it's weird in retrospect that we're doing 2 weeks for Spring Break, and when we just had like 2 nights of WrestleMania. So are we going to see 2 night stand and deliver in future, you think?
Possibly. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I still don't really know how in favor I am of a 2-night WrestleMania.
What?
Most years I feel like you could whittle that down to one really strong night. But I don't know. Maybe that's just because like there's somewhere in me. It's just being a hyper traditionalist, I guess.
Well, this year in particular had to be a 2-night WrestleMania, though. Let's be real.
The story for it begged to be a 2-night thing. It had to. The story wouldn't have worked any other way. But with them doing that, I've heard rumor for a while that they talked about doing that with SummerSlam. And I don't know if I want a bunch of events to become 2-night showcases. I like the 1-night thing. I'm still getting over the fact that like pay-per-views aren't on Sundays generally any longer. Like the fact that it's on Saturdays that still bothers me.
I think it's because of the international consciousness now that WWE deals with, like how dare we put international product out on Sundays if they have to go to work on Monday.
Oh, well, I mean, that being said, I much prefer them to be on Saturday. It's been much better. Like, I like it that way. God, and especially as a kid, I would have loved that. Like, I always remember like, SummerSlam was usually the Sunday before we started back to school. 9 years out of 10. So that was always kind
good luck staying up late for that.
Right, that was always a kind of a barter with the parents to get stay calendar up for that. But
it's just an admin day. It's fine.
Don't worry about it. It's all right, guys.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll hop around to the front of the show tonight, which opened up with Dijak taking on Supernova 11, Noam Dar, being accompanied to the ring with Metaphor. Noam Dar picks up the win here in 12. Their entrance looks just like the select screen. Thinking every time. Every time I come out, that's what I think of. But
that is phenomenal. I love it. Like, does the colors line up the same way too?
Blue.
Because I mean, Noam Dar on the left side, but
blue, yellow, purple,
red. But there's green in there.
Yeah, it's true, but it's close.
Shoot.
Close.
Okay, I'm willing to concede it's close.
It's very, very close. Close enough that I would almost argue there could have been influence or homage being paid there. But
I just noticed my lighting was super weird, so I was trying to fix that while you were talking.
Oh, no worries. After some chicanery from Metaphor, good match here, just kind of continuing the feud between the Metaphor and Dijak. And it's good to see Noam Dar get a win here after, being sad after losing the Heritage Cup there a few weeks ago.
Well, in a one-off gag, like I'm glad they didn't revisit that story because it was stupid. But I thought this match was great. Noam Dar getting a lot more offense in against Dijak than I thought he was going to. I hate myself for trying to do this while I'm talking. But I hated the finish. Like, this match was fantastic, but I hated the finish. I didn't like Noam Dar getting the win. Could only happen with shenanigans, but this match was so good that it should have had a cleaner finish.
Well, and we had a lot of chicanery and distraction finishes tonight. Like, a lot. Like, even from Shawn Michaels standard, we had a lot.
Like a good 3/4 of the card.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Like it was nonstop. It's in my notes here a couple times. Like, oh, cool, another distraction finish tonight. Mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
HBK, come on. I know that I understand that there is a little bit of we're going to run on autopilot between Mania, Stand and Deliver, and the draft. I get that. You're kind of in a weird, in between, upside down, murky territory where there's not a whole lot of story going on because you don't really know where people are going to end up yet. So you can kind of keep doing some things you were already working on, but for the most part, most of your major angles you're holding off on because you don't know where your major players are going to be in 3 weeks' time.
Right. And I mean, like, if they wanted to have Dijak lose to make Noam Dar look good because Metaphor's getting drafted somewhere, we'll have to see if that's how it plays out. But I was very surprised that Dijak lost. I thought for sure he was going to win, which I guess, yeah, they got one over on me. But
he'll get his win back. I think this will lead to him getting his win back for sure.
Yeah, but no, I agree. I think just because of how up in the air everything is, especially with like the graphic that we were talking about in the group thread earlier with the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT colors incorporated into the draft logo, like they really want to. I don't know if you want to. Do we want to do this now or do we want to save it for later?
We can go ahead and talk about this now. First of all, we're the swoosh. We got the swoosh. That's number one.
So just to clarify, just to peel the curtain back a little bit, a segment that I pitched was just being able to do a deep dive on a regular basis on a topic that's relevant to NXT. And the topic that we were going to talk about was whether NXT should be considered a third brand. Tyler, what were your thoughts?
Well, I can see multiple angles on that. Because it is, in some regards, a third brand. I mean, as it stands, though, it's on the USA Network, which is also the home of Raw. There's a lot of cross-promotion, with SmackDown. But come October, it's going to be moving to the CW. It's going to be alone on the CW network. USA will be having SmackDown, and Raw will be moving to Netflix. Everybody's in very different homes come next year. It's fall in the case of NXT. And I do think that they're going to make a push for it to be a more standalone brand. I think it's still going to hold the developmental aspect. They're still going to talk about so-and-so's up and coming. They're new on the scene. They're young. They're hungry. But I think we are going to see the inclusion of several more veterans and Raw and SmackDown mainstays that are sent to God, I don't know what to call it. I don't want to keep saying the developmental brand necessarily, but I don't want to say the red brand, the blue brand, the gold brand, the swoosh brand, or the swoosh. But
hashtag swoosh.
I do see some names being moved down there to help with ratings. You got to think, again, ratings are going to be a relevant factor here. Right now, NXT is basically tied to the Raw deal, as I understand it. And this is a whole deal by itself. NXT is a standalone thing as far as the CW is concerned. And the CW is going to want some name recognition.
And I mean, yes, the CW deal is big, and the SmackDown deal with USA is, business as usual. But this comes at a really weird time because if they were working on this Netflix deal, they've been working on it for a while. If they had TV deals up around the same time, it feels weird that they wouldn't have just said, Netflix, how do we deal? You take the whole thing. Especially heading into this new era. So I don't know if maybe they're just trying to work on ways to get out of the deal sooner. if not before they happen, in order for NXT or any WWE programming to just say, you know what, 2025 on Netflix. Because I mean, they're doing that worldwide, everywhere but the USA. So it makes sense for them to do that eventually. So I think if they do stick it out in the meantime, yes, it should be a third brand, but there still has to be a developmental system. So Tyler, you saying like you don't want to use the word developmental to talk about NXT. And if they do make it a true third brand, I agree. They should. But then they should also be taking it on the road. They should be able to start selling out arenas. They should be expected to do everything that Raw and SmackDown are expected to do. And unfortunately, that means cutting back on things that were challenging and unique and things that, you know, we've talked about week to week, where it's like, oh, I don't think that would have flied on the main roster, or I don't think that would have been a good idea on USA Network, or on, you know, like the main brand. So I think they have a lot of creative freedom that the main roster doesn't have, because they have more public responsibilities. You know, they're the stars that attract the ads. So if they decide that NXT is its own thing, then they should replace it with a different developmental and take NXT away from that developmental stigma.
Right. Well, I mean, they do have Level Up, but the
I just before you go, I just wanted to add a little context to the discussion. I did want to say that as in regards to WWE ever wanting to like put it all on Netflix, so to speak, just get it off of like USA Network, that is probably not something they'd want, if only because that's a lot of extra money you're throwing away. Not that Netflix can't afford to, you know, pay what it's worth, but it's not just what they're getting in the contract. It's also ad money, which you don't necessarily get on Netflix, and you know, things like that. I think they're really, really happy with the idea that they can have 3 separate incomes, like from the 3 television shows, and it's never been this way before. 3, it was 2 for so long. 3 now. Another
also, like just on that point specifically, it might not be. Why wouldn't there be a consolidation of those revenue streams? Like it's not like those streams would just die instantaneously. Like for me, I am going to cancel my Sportsnet Plus subscription when the deal goes to Netflix in 2025, because the only reason I was subscribed to Sportsnet in the first place was to watch WWE. So for me as a consumer, I appreciate that even more. And if they and they have enough of the fan base saying, "Hey, you're saving me money, so I'm going to give you more of my business," that is, I think, what they might be going for.
I think that's nice. I don't really know another word for it. I don't want to sound like condescending.
It's good old Canadian optimism.
It is very, very optimistic. I think from a consumer's point of view, that makes a lot of sense. You know, like as the customer, that makes a lot of sense. I think you really have to start looking at WWE as the giant corporate structure that it is. There's no level of humanity left. You know what I mean? And I know it sounds crazy, but like Nick Khan is an actual like cyborg. Like he's got a reputation for being an actual business robot. Like he wants to have WWE on multiple deals like this it's like 3 championship belts on his shoulder. I don't think he wants to consolidate that at all. I think it not only does it bring in all this money for the company, it's a bit of a perception thing as well.
But John, like that's what I mean. Like,
and it's
consolidating. So
like,
three streams. Okay, right. But let's say 3 streams, 20. If we're consolidating them to 60, what's the problem?
I don't see that as a possibility. First of all, because Netflix is already paying an insane amount of money for what they have. So to expect them to somehow pay more than, because they're not just gonna have to raise it, like a little couple $100 million. They're gonna have to throw another B on that joint. They're not. Netflix,
right? But that's part of. That's not just for Raw. That was for the whole international deal.
That's what I mean. You are asking them to pay for now, on top of what they've paid for, what they have. Now they would also have to pay for SmackDown and also NXT.
John, we haven't seen the whole deal. I'm sure there's some caveat in there to say that if this is the intention, if there is going to be more money to be paid, then they'll have that written in, or they'll have it written in to say that the 1.1 billion is for future investment of full worldwide streaming rights.
It's in the context in that they could have bundled it all together right now. It was all up now, and that was not the route that they chose. They chose to go with 3 separate contracts, and this decision was made now. Like, if that was a plan, if there was some plan in the future for that has become a very long-term goal, because the decision was made now. Like, that's locked in. Netflix is locked in. CW's locked in. SmackDown on USA. These are big contracts that are locked in. Like, some real shit would have to go down for. I think they would have to end up there rather than like this is what they're looking for. No, it's like if we somehow lost CW and USA for whatever reason, then we still have Netflix to lean on. But I don't think that's the goal, because I don't see a world where Netflix, like WWE, would have to become NFL level popular for Netflix to pay more than they're paying now.
Right.
If I don't have the SmackDown number right on top of my note on top of my desk, but I know it was a good 9-figure number. I don't imagine Netflix throwing another 9 figures on top of
if they get a significant enough of that money back to say, hey, it's worth the investment, then why wouldn't they?
I can imagine if like I said, if WWE over the next 5 years, let's say the CW and USA deals are 5 years long, let's say, I don't know for a fact, but assuming they are. If within these 5 years, WWE somehow not only recaptured all the popularity they've ever had, they quadrupled that shit, then I absolutely would see Netflix trying to be like, let me get it all. But I think that's, I don't want to say it's impossible, because anything is possible. I don't think it's likely. That's it just doesn't make business sense. If I had a gazillion dollars, I would not want 1 penny less. I would want as much, it's like a hoarding evil or hoarding rich people thing. I want all the riches. I want a giant pile of gold. You know what I mean?
Well, but that's the same thing that Netflix would be doing. They'd be saying, well, no, I don't want anybody subscribing to Peacock to get content that they could be getting from me.
Now that is probably a lot more possible. The Peacock content being brought over to Netflix is probably a lot more possible, if only because that is in the air next year, 2 years from now, 2026. That's what I've been saying
this whole time.
Like, these shows aren't in the air anytime soon, and that's probably not going to be.
We don't know how long the deals are with USA
you can actually
CW.
Google it. I just don't know off the top of my head, but you can actually, that's public information. I'm pretty sure it's 5 years. Oh yeah, it all is right now.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't aware that they announced how long the deals were. I just knew that the deals were announced.
Yeah. It's all in the press releases.
Okay.
But the Peacock deal is up in 2026 at the same time as the UFC deal with Disney and ESPN. So you can look for WWE to try to sell that as a singular package to somebody. And I imagine Netflix is ready, willing, and able to take that at UFC and WWE. What? Now that's something worth paying another little penny for, you know. But I don't see SmackDown and NXT were on that level. I don't think they see it on that level either. There was a statement from the CW president because they actually just got bought. They got sold to Netstar. Netstar,
some conservative conglomerate.
And that dude literally said, like, we are just happy to have any WWE product on our network after Netflix made that deal with them. Like, they feel like they got that shit. They got if it says WWE on it and they only paid whatever they paid for NXT, they feel like they got the deal of a lifetime. They don't care if fucking Little Jimmy's the main event star on this show. Like, you can't actually see him.
By the way,
I don't know. They might not want Karrion Kross. They might see that and be like, "No, hold up a fucking
minute." They're on the phone with their lawyers right now. Like, what can we do? What can we do to get out of this? God! But I mean, that's my thoughts on NXT becoming a third brand. We got kind of off the rails a little there.
There's a comment from Tony Hayes that makes a lot of sense. WWE named the brand NXT, damn it. Named it Next.
Exactly. Like, it literally was built to be a developmental system that got popular. And then they said, well, it's better than the main roster, so let's make it a main roster brand. And then it sucked.
Just say oh fuck me. I cut you off earlier, Tyler. You definitely talk now.
Oh, I was gonna say, let's not forget that NXT wasn't even a brand to start. It was a really awful truncated reality show.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
No, I think
Tyler,
I think it's
I need you to John, just give me a second here. I need you to look right into the camera and tell me that you will never mention the game show years again.
There are 4 lights.
Low-key was a winner. Are you fucking kidding me?
I wanted to say that I think it's possible to treat NXT like a third brand in that you can market it on its own, you can tour with it eventually, you can have its own stars and make names on it, but kind of like college, it should be treated kind of like college basketball or something like that, rather than trying to convince me that it's on the level of Raw and SmackDown, when, like, you're never gonna put that fucking effort into it. They tried this last time. You fucking lied right to my face. So I don't like. I believe if you could absolutely treat it with the seriousness of an actual third brand, not like WWE's idea of a third brand, but like a literal third brand. It can actually be that, and I bet it will. I remember they've wanted that for so long. They wanted it with ECW back in the day. Fucking fell on its face.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's possible. What about you, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of to touch on something CJ said earlier, about them, having to do the same things that Raw and SmackDown do. I don't necessarily think they have to do all the same things. Triple H is, if nothing else, he is the game, but he's a student of the game. The man knows his history. The man looks at what has worked in wrestling's past, especially from a television production standpoint. And for decades, what worked for wrestling, at least part of professional wrestling in the territory days, was the studio show. which is what NXT is. NXT is a studio show. You're in the exact same place every single week. You have virtually the same audience every single week. And then you do like your big shows and your house shows, kind of, you know, your spot shows, as it would be, you know, as a side thing. And I think that they could kind of just sit in that niche and still be a studio wrestling show and do what the main brands do similarly, but just on a smaller scale. You know, still have your spot shows and your house shows, but your bread and butter is going to be, your television is going to be that studio. And then your touring money is going to be a lot smaller. It's going to be, you know, a lot less reaching. You're not going to go too far outside of your territory. Treat it like a territory, which might be the idea here. That might be the idea. But again, we'll see maybe when we get closer to October. We're definitely going to see in October what the plan is. And John, you're right. Like, if CW is just happy that, you know, they've got a date. You know, they look, they're taking a Kardashian to prom. They don't care which one it is.
Absolutely.
I'll let the viewers figure out which Kardashian I'm taking a swing at with that.
They're all beautiful in their own way.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you say vapid?
I don't want to get shut down, so they're very powerful.
Right. Oh no, come on. I was taking a swing at a Kardashian. I'm not saying anything mean about like someone like Beyonce or something. I'm not going to get that.
That would just get us canceled. No,
yeah, no, I don't want to be.
I just wanted to talk about wrestling.
I'll get out of here. I thought that was an interesting conversation.
Great talking to you, John, as always.
But we'll pop back into the show from the scene. But yeah, great conversation point, and we'll see what happens going forward. I know we say that a lot, but hey, you know, oh god, oh lordy.
Yeah, shout out to Father Mitchell.
Father Mitchell, the sinister minister. But
this right here, Dijak was so good when he wrestled in New England. Should be the NXT champion. They had a hell of a match, and I'm so glad that he still looked good even in a loss. Mm-hmm. If they keep him down in NXT, he's got to be NXT champion by the end of the year. If he ends up on the main roster, I think he's going to have a hell of a first year.
Yeah, absolutely agree. But moving on to the show, we had a vignette for Tatum Paxley, you know, kind of showing a juxtaposition of girls doing stereotypically girly things and her talking about how that's not what appeals to her, and, you know, just kind of again leaning more into this kind of dark kind of emo gothic character, which she's been doing a very, very good job of. So. And establishing it was an interesting.
And that's exactly what I was just about to say. Like, I don't think we've seen that level of infatuation, like, with an object in NXT, at least ever, in WWE in quite some time. So it's a neat character trait when it's not overused, and given how Tatum Paxley's character has been presented this entire time, I think she's going to nail this new tack right out of the park.
I agree. Absolutely. She's been killing it with this character, and I look forward to seeing what she does on a week-to-week basis. But that will take us into our next match on the card. We had Ruca taking on...
Which I had to fucking laugh. I almost died laughing when you end Tatum Paxley's promo with such a dark tone and then immediately transition into the Ruca graphic and beach music. I never laughed so hard in my life. It was incredible.
Back up. You gotta get the spirit
it
back
was
up.
Such a sharp transition. Like, okay, we're all the way down here. We need you to be all the fucking way up here. Fuck. Yeah. So good.
But But Ruca and Lola Vice. Lola gets the win here in 4 minutes and 14 seconds with a spin kick. Pretty quick match. CJ, what'd you think?
I mean, we talked already about how many matches had outside interference going on in it, and this really didn't need outside momentum or outside interference. Like, I'm glad it did so that it didn't hurt Sol Ruca's momentum, and it sets up for this this match with I keep wanting to call her Bea Priestley. Blair Davenport at Spring Breakin', which, by the way, the fact that she goes in and asks for a no disqualification match just on its own, like, that's a stipulation that's not a match type. It just really bugged me. I still love Sol Ruca wholeheartedly. You know, like, she is a star in the making for sure, but it just felt like a weird moment for her. Like,
would you have preferred if she had went in there and asked for, she like, I want a singles match, like no holds barred, hardcore rules, like falls count anywhere, like something marketable, a little more concrete? Yeah, okay.
And they did, and I say that knowing, and I'm going to acknowledge now that they did market it as the Beach Bash. I think it was what it was.
The Beach Brawl.
Beach Brawl. Okay. Brawl. So I think that would have been something good to mention in that promo, and I think they just missed that opportunity. Like, now, if she went in and said, I want a match 1-on-1, and I like, if she goes in saying I want to tear her head off, like, it would be a little bit out of character for her to be that intense, but at the same time, like, that would be, it'd be like, oh, holy shit, we've never seen her this fired up before. So I would love to see her just go into her office and say, all right, well, you get this this Beach Bash, whatever you said it was, Beach Brawl. Why can I not remember Brawl? Like, Jesus. But no, like, if Ava would have said, all right, you're going to get her in a no disqualification Beach Brawl, then, you know, there's your opportunity, instead of even Vic Joseph on commentary talking about it at the end of the show, saying no disqualification, Beach Brawl. Like, somebody was in his headset being like, hey, we're calling it Beach Brawl.
Beach Brawl. Beach Brawl.
Beach Brawl.
I mean, here's the thing.
Oh, because Beach Ball. Okay,
yeah, exactly. See, the promo could have been worse, because once upon a time it would have been her walking there and be like, "Oh, I'm so angry. I just want to pop her like a beach ball," and then that would have led into the whole thing. Now, moving from something titled that way to a match that is actually marketable by name. After the match, we had Natty appear on the screen and declare that she and Lola Vice would be having an NXT Underground match in 2 weeks at the second night of Spring Breakin'. And if I'm not mistaken here, this is the first women's Underground match.
It is, and that is exciting enough in its own right, but also a Heart Dungeon graduate in an Underground match. Can you imagine?
I think this will be good.
Unfortunately, it's Natalya. No, just kidding. I love Natalya. Shout out Calgary. No, I think this is going to be.
Dude, you'll get deported saying shit about the Hart family being Canadian. Like, you watch that.
I mean, I think I'm safe not even living in Alberta, but the mob already knows where I live, so
yeah.
I'm
Well, here's the thing:
way.
there's a network of cats that spy for the Hart family, and they'll get that information back to them pretty quick.
Like, my window is closed and my curtains are drawn, but I swear someone's looking through. No, just kidding. That's it. But no, like, I think this is this might be what Natalya needs to rejuvenate her character. Like, I mean, I acknowledge long gone are the days of her farting gimmick, thank God. But even since then, like, doesn't have that same sort of momentum that even she used to have. Like, she always deserved more time on TV, more opportunities, and hopefully this is the thing that really gets her noticed again. Even if she takes on like a more vicious tack, like this may be exactly what she needs.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be nice to see her have hopefully a harder edge to her. And hell, this could really make Lola Vice as well.
Oh, absolutely. Looking forward to this for sure.
Yeah. But all right. So speaking of well, I guess this will be more fun.
Shoot me in the fucking head.
All right, so we had finally, my God, after weeks, I thought this was going to end up being a Von Wagner fighting children type of thing, and we were never going to get a payoff here. But we finally have Arianna Grace coaching Gigi Dolin, getting her ready for her debutante debut, going dress shopping and all of that in a couple of segments tonight. Hokey, over the top, but well acted for what they are, and a lot of fun. Hickenbottom High at its finest.
God, Gigi wanted this to end. Like, she said something about the sooner we get this over and with, the sooner it's over, and I'm like, same. That is me. Like, I just want this whole thing to be over. Granted, the dress that she made herself in the second promo was a very nice dress. But no, I still don't care about this storyline at all.
Hey, I mean, it's reminiscent of what Avril Lavigne would have worn to prom. And of course, hey, look, she picked up the tab with her... I'm looking at all of her cards here. One of them's a chase. I can tell that. There's the Capital
One. That looks like Capital One.
There. Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, no numbers showing.
Poor Santino.
Well, she's making NXT money, so
yeah,
that should be enough.
That is not enough.
And that's why it'll never be a third brand, John.
Hey, that developmental contract money was enough for Zack Ryder to finish his Hasbro WWF action figure collection. So,
that's fair.
You also wasn't eating.
That is also true. That's true. Also, I heard that when they hire guys on, they like take you into like basically like the merch vault, and they're like, yeah, you can take like whatever you want out of here. And most guys are like too cool for school to take anything, But apparently, Ryder and Hawkins or Cardona and apparently and they just loaded their arms up with shit and walked out. Like, so, always a fan
Classic.
First, Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, you get the opportunity once, and every fiber of your being has to be screaming, "Take it!"
Exactly. But all right. So moving into the next match on the card, we had Joaquin Wilde taking on Ridge Holland. Ridge picks up the win here in just under 4 minutes. It was Ridge Holland. I don't care. I don't care what they're doing with him because we've talked about this several times over the last couple of months, but I just don't like the angle. And I don't like the angle to the point that I just don't care to see any of it. I kind of check out a little bit for a few minutes every time he comes on the screen. And I don't know what they can do to actually make me care about him. And look, I understand that, it ain't ballet, as they say, and accidents happen. But like on the back of finding out the results of Big E's second year neck scan, having a harder time caring about Ridge Holland. So,
yeah, like it's the only note that I had written down for this match was I don't care. Like I think the whole storyline has just been kind of tacky and tasteless. And I get there's nuance in storytelling, so there should be nuance in the stories that we tell in professional wrestling. But at the same time, when it's a reality that is very impactful, like, I mean, Rhea Ripley last night on Raw, she was more emotional than we've ever seen her in her entire career. That was a very real moment for her. Now we have Ridge Holland the very next night going, "Oh, I'm injuring people, but it's all on an accident, and I'm trying to be a better person." Like, that's not... It's impossible to draw sympathy when we have people actually getting injured by accident.
Right.
And I don't care. I don't care to see this story being told.
And I'm usually someone that's like, just finish it out and move on. I don't want to be here shouting finish the story as it would be. But usually I'm not in favor of a wrestling angle just being dropped because it's not going well. I think that's usually a bad show too. It's like, well, at least give some sort of ending, even if it's not really the ending you planned. Do that here. Just stop it. And you know what? I don't even need an ending. Just stop it. If they just stop this completely, like if he was just off TV for a few weeks and came back doing something completely different, fucking tap dancing, I don't care. Anything else. You know what? Make him a Viking. It doesn't matter. Just anything else, I'll accept it. But this doesn't even need an ending. It just needs to stop. It just needs to stop. And
the
we'll talk about
Viking
Vikings
Raiders,
in a little bit.
Ivar, Eric, and Ridge Holland.
Why not? They started doing that shit, trying to put other people in the Road Warriors, whatever.
So I want to propose a gentleman's agreement, and of course we can loop Matthew in and see if he's on board, but I propose that in future episodes we just acknowledge that a Ridge Holland match or segment happened and then immediately move on.
Fair enough. I'm fine with that. It's kind of like how I used to have a rule that in my car, you'll always skip the Goo Goo Dolls. That's the rule. Sorry, Goo Goo Dolls.
You know what? That's that other graphic you just showed, John. That would make a real great Jobber of the Night graphic, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that feels right to me.
I've been advised against making contemporary superstars Jobber of the Night for the sake of our, I guess, credibility. Whatever little credibility we've built.
We've got credibility.
For sure.
But moving on from...
it worked well for Baron Corbin.
They don't know that happened. You got to keep that on the low.
Oh, okay. All right.
We turned his career around.
Acknowledge us.
Acknowledge us. But moving on from Ridge Holland, we have a few backstage segments in a row here, rapid fire, as NXT likes to do. But we had Josh Briggs in the trainer's room being told that despite having several broken ribs, he has been cleared to wrestle. This led to him being approached by Ivar wearing his civvies once again. And that they set up for a match later that night, which I will say now, I was very disappointed that Ivar was dressed as a Viking in the match, so this makes even less fucking sense to me now than it did before, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
I had Hannah Montana written in my notes.
Oh, man.
You can't unsee it now.
You get the best of both worlds, Tyler. Don't you enjoy it?
It's not Hannah Montana. This is Heenland, Greenland. Yeah, so moving on. So we also had a quick TikTok of Brindley Reese doing the workout with Edris and Malik.
What the fuck was the point of this? Who was this for?
No one. Because I can tell you this: the people, the TikTok age generation, they find that annoying too. I've got kids that see this stuff, and that's they're like, "What was that?" I get that question about wrestling from them from time to time, with that tone. But that was definitely one of those things. It's just dumb. Also,
It's
Everyone finds
so
her insufferable.
obviously pandering.
Yeah, well, and Brittany Leary's like, people find her insufferable. Like, you could not handle being around that type of individual for more than 20 minutes. Like, toxic positivity is a thing, guys. Like, that's real.
30-second promos. I'm all like, no, get her off, move on. Like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around who, like, their demo audience their audience hates it. Like, who is this for? It doesn't do anything to I like Brynlee Reese in the ring. I think she's very athletic, but she needs to really dial it back. This is not a good character. And it feels like they're dragging Enofe and Blade down with her.
Yep. Absolutely agree. Absolutely. But the next backstage segment, we had Thea Hale hanging out in the back. And approached to and talked with Andre Chase, just kind of explaining away the situation with the loss of funds, and something that they just seem to just have glossed over here completely is the fact that Andre Chase embezzled money to make this bet.
The legalities of it don't matter because there was a reconciliation. Everything was okay. The money was made back.
That's true. But like, for him to be like, it wasn't your fault. Well, no shit, it wasn't her fault, Andre.
She just wrestled a match. You quit for her.
And also, I just saw the head administrator of a university hugging a student, so I already know what the next scandal is going to be. Like, we're already leading that way. But
but even just like the tone of the promo, like if you put like a string ensemble together, this episode of Hickenbottom High is just an after school special.
We got some Degrassi action going on tonight for sure.
Except no Drake in a wheelchair.
No, that happened. For our viewing audience that doesn't know, and this is the thing. Like, I'm not a Drake guy anyway, but part of the thing is because like I can never take him seriously as a hip hop performer because I watch Degrassi: The Next Generation, and all I see is Little Jimmy, not the Little Jimmy connected to R-Truth. Incidentally, different Little Jimmy. All right.
Do we know that, though? Who was able to see Little Jimmy before the magician made him invisible?
And you know what? R-Truth has his connections to the hip-hop world, so maybe it's been Drake all along. Little Jimmy's been Drake all along. Breaking news.
If we don't show up,
John,
if we don't show up for work next week, if we don't show up for work next week, it's because we were assassinated. So just be aware. We found the truth. You can't deny it anymore.
The R-Truth. All right. Moving on. The family.
No, I gotta stop again. Fuck you, man.
I love my puns. If they were good enough for William Shakespeare, they're good enough for me. But
I love this, man.
We had the family make their way to the ring to cut a promo, and I thought maybe this was going to be the fracture of the family. You know, they really did play that up during Stand and Deliver. That they looked very disappointed in the Dawn. The Stacks and Luca looked very upset, and Tony wasn't there last week, but that's not the way this promo went. Everything seemed pretty good with the family, and they were interrupted by the No Quarter Catch crew, the new version of the No Quarter Catch crew minus one member, and this promo seemed to explain that away. They very heavily implied that it was the family that took care of the problem that the No Quarter Catch crew was having, which hell of a way to write Drew Gulak off of NXT television, basically insinuating that he was murdered.
He found the same bridge that Troy Two Dimes Donovan did back in the day. Deep cut reference for NXT, but I thought Yeah, I thought we were headed for a division of the family with Tony giving everyone their flowers, and then I thought it was going to turn into like Judgment Day with Edge kind of situation where it's just like we're stronger without you, and we're gonna cut you out now. But yeah, I thought it was better, honestly, that they did the no quarter catch crew interruption and Drew Gulak insinuation. Like, that really brought me back into the promo. Like, it's not that I wasn't on board with what the promo that Tony was cutting. I thought it was just headed in a different direction. So I'm happy that this was the end result. But the the segment ended really weird. Like, it cut to a commercial break, and I usually when that happens, like, they come back to the 6-person tag already in progress. So I was surprised that they held off until spring breaking. But yeah, but
I mean, I dug it.
Yeah, great promo. Great segment.
I'm glad they went the way they did, partially because I didn't really know what they were going to do with Tony D'Angelo if they split him from the family. I think, Matthew brought this up last week, but it's like, what do you do with him if he's not part of that? He's a mob boss. Like, that's his whole gimmick. That's his whole character. And I'm glad this kind of puts the family in more of a face territory, though. I mean, not a traditional face, almost in the way that, like, Tony Soprano, was, a popular character, or that Vic Mackey in The Shield. It's like, he's not really a great dude, but you root for him in the context of the show. And that's kind of how the family is here. Because, I mean, yeah, they're doing bad things. Like, they're whacking people. They're taking people out. And, their issue with the No Quarter Catch crew seems to be that the No Quarter Catch crew did not pay them for the services rendered, which is why you get hit money up front. That's the rule.
Exactly.
You don't do that after. Like, come on. But so that seems to be the issue.
You'd think a mob boss would know that.
Yeah, I think Vic Joseph on commentary, I have here in my notes, even shouted, "No money, more problems" for the No Quarter Catch crew. So, but it was good to see them get a little bit of Dempsey got a little bit of action on the mic tonight, which was good. But yeah, looking forward to this. It'll be a good little filler feud for him. And again, we're just kind of in that in between time right now, the next couple of weeks before the draft. Not that the family or the no quarter catch crew are going anywhere. Those acts that are definitely staying on it.
You just added Luca Crucifino and Adriana Rizzo. Like, you can't tell me that their main roster ready. If it was just Tony and Stax, I would say, yeah, I think they'd be able to do well. But you can't sink or swim half your stable like that.
Right. Exactly.
But what about I disagree that the No Quarter Catch crew wouldn't survive. Like, I think that Damon Kemp in particular, the amount of time that he's been there, he's really fine-tuned his career and his character. Charlie Dempsey, the fact that NXT and WWE are willing to shop him around to other promotions and say, hey, we want you to put this guy on your card, I think that is a level of loyalty that comes with main roster talent, not just people from NXT. So really the only one is Miles Bourne, which kind of, yeah, same boat as the family. It's 1/3 of your stable is brand new. If they would have kept Drew Gulak or brought in a 4th member that had main roster experience, I would say he's got great support and he's improved enough that I think he could do well, but it's too imbalanced to risk it. But otherwise, yeah, I think they'd be good to go.
I just think the initial push to get them over on the main roster would be a little difficult. Like they've got more of a build and a name for themselves in NXT with that audience. I think acknowledging and putting William Regal with them on the main roster would definitely like get them that attention and that cachet immediately right out the gate. But to their credit, that's not something they've done in NXT. They've barely
did the opposite.
Like they pushed them apart, which I think is a good way to do that. And I wonder if that was, their idea, Charlie's idea, or Williams' idea. And I
just wish it worked for Lexis King. Like that mentality worked for Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah.
Then, like what would we have? Like, I wish Lexis King would have actually made it into the match with Ilja Dragunov until I actually saw the match. But no, like I thought, let's get back on track.
But yeah, so we had the, I guess, Ilja Dragunov Open Challenge for the week, we'll call it. But the virtually entire roster floods out to the ring, trying to make their way in, and then leaping into the ring, really floating into the ring. The young OG, Javon Evans. Crowd pops, goes nuts for him. I mean, the guy just captured everyone's attention so wholeheartedly last week. And gets in there, answers the open challenge to the NXT champion. Now, I think obvious conclusion here, Dragunov does pick up the win in 6 minutes and 5 seconds, which I thought was a good amount of time for this. As much as I want to see this go longer, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense from a kayfabe standpoint for it to have gone much longer than this. Like, yeah, Ilja, the reason it went this long, you can argue he was taken by surprise. It's like, holy shit, this kid's really got something. Where normally you think you would have taken him down to like 3.5, 4 minutes, but it was great. Evans looked awesome in the match. The dude just floats. He doesn't jump. I think he might actually be a mutant, and he can fly, and this is covering up. This is a real-life Spider-Man
The actual
situation.
man gravity forgot.
Exactly. He has no idea he fucking exists. Just it's awesome. Like I said this last week, he reminds me of the first time I saw like ACH. Like he just hits that top rope and he can change direction in the air. It's just absolutely wild. But CJ, man, what'd you think of this match?
Absolute banger of a match, if I may steal a phrase from Sheamus. It was phenomenal, if I may steal a turn of phrase from AJ Styles. I thought this match was absolutely incredible. And it's like you said, it
take a turn of phrase from Justin. Just incredible.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Former ECW champion, just incredible.
Which I don't think about Just Incredible, so that's why I didn't make that connection right away. But this match was fantastic. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better performance out of Javon Evans. But for him to, you're right, for him to go to toe-to-toe with the champ longer than 6 minutes would have made Ilja look bad. Like, as much as I wanted that match to continue on forever, it's good that Ilja had such a good tune-up match too, because it made him look strong. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do at Spring Breakin' with the NXT title, but I am so excited to see what they do with Javon Evans.
Yeah, absolutely. The crowd's already, super hot for him. I mean, and how could you not be? Like, he's just so flashy and just so athletic. And it's and he's very, I don't know his exact height, but he's pretty tall to be as acrobatic as he is. But yeah, really looking forward to see what he's got going in his future. He's 19 years old. Always want to remind people of that. 19. Crazy. So
at least until his mom goes on his Instagram and tells us that he's 24.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Fantastic. But So yeah, we before our next match, we had the we touched on earlier, but so Ruca in Ava's office setting up for her beach brawl match. She'll be having at Spring Breaking. But up next, we had Thea Hale with Chase U taking on Tatum Paxley and her, again, very well done goth out emo role. Tatum picks up the win here quickly in 3 minutes and 5 seconds.
Wow, was it really that short?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was right over 3 minutes. Yeah.
It felt longer. Like, not in a bad way. It just felt like they got a lot in that 3 minutes.
They did. But yeah, again, but another distraction finish for the night. But again, though, like, this is kind of, one of those maintenance shows where we're in between things. We're just kind of like keeping a couple things plodding along in between now and the draft and Spring Breaking. So I understand it, but they went to the distraction well an awful lot tonight. But yeah, but that has a brawl there at the end break. And speaking of brawl, 2 of my cats are going at it over here right now. But
cat fight. Where's Joey Styles?
Oh God, Zelda, that was violent.
Said Link. I thought this was a great match. The submission that we threw up here in particular, I thought was very impressive. But this, to the defense of interferences in matchups tonight, this was the one that I thought was at least done the best.
Right.
Like we had Jasmine Nix distracting the referee and JC Jane coming in to hit Thea. And like, it made storyline sense from that perspective, and then it created a distraction for the camera to be filming this, and then we don't notice that Lyra is in the ring fighting Tatum Paxley. So I loved everything about the finish of this match. It was very well done. The match itself was great. So yeah, I'm happy with this one too.
And of course, set up for the match will be taking place at Spring Breaking, because this led into a backstage segment with Roxanne Perez for a little Tuesday night Roxy being interviewed by Miss Kincaid there, and just talking about, there we go, see, that's right, Tuesday night Roxy. I was making a push to get the show renamed the Dirt Sheet Radio Tuesday Night Roxy Rewind, but I'm working on it. Because that's what it's all about.
But hey, what if she gets drafted?
Then I'll probably shed a tear. Unless she gets drafted to Raw.
Unless she goes to Raw.
Yeah, because I don't cover SmackDown. But
because I don't think I have as much pull on Fridays that I can just rename it the Roxy show without talking to everybody first.
Yeah. That'd be Friday Night Rocks Down, is what we'd call that. But
love it.
But she basically said, that Paxley and Valkyria can, tear each other down and beat each other down as much as they want to, and maybe she'll grant one of them a title match. And then she says, "Hey, look how easy that was, making a match, doing Ava's job for her." And of course, that summoned Ava. It's like Bloody Mary. You say her name 3 times, and there she is. And she said, "You know what? It is easy. Triple threat match. Boom. There it is." CJ, do you look for Roxy to lose the belt here? Do you think she's main roster bound?
Oh, yeah, that is a good point. I literally just tossed the idea of her getting drafted. Yeah, I think that this might actually be an opportunity to make a star out of Tatum Paxley. If they want Lyra to be a foil for her on NXT, then, the face can chase the champ, and we can see the full culmination of this infatuation storyline that we didn't even know was happening in the background. And then Roxanne gets to go to Raw or SmackDown and, still come out with a chip on her shoulder if she doesn't get pinned to lose her championship.
which means that she will once again be able to walk around saying that she, in fact, did not lose that championship.
If this was the long game to get back at me for coming on here week after week and saying that she didn't lose or that she actually lost the title, that is like a 5D chess move that there's no way I could have been prepared for that.
No, that is definitely psychological sweet chin music from Shawn Michaels' booking mind straight to you, because this could be a situation
through the power of the internet
where sometime in the middle of next month you could be ranting and saying Roxanne Perez lost the women's championship on April 23rd, 2024.
You know what? I will. And here's the reason why. Under triple threat rules, it's still a title defense, and whether or not the champion is pinned, the whoever walks away with the title won the match with the rules to back them up. So yes, she will have lost the match even if she didn't get pinned. I don't care. Oh, the things we have to talk about. I thought it was a good character trait for Ava to go womp womp.
Yeah. She's been doing.
I liked it.
I'm starting to get accustomed to her doing so much better that I didn't even feel the need to critique her, and her outfits were better this evening as well. I will say it's interesting that she dresses like people did when I was in my senior year of high school, because she was barely alive during that time frame. But hey, they say that fashion's cyclical. Things come back. Swear to God, if she's busting out a pair of Jinkos in a couple weeks, though, I'll ask where she got
Zubaz in a fanny pack. Let's go.
Hey, Zubaz in a fanny pack never go out of style. Ask Kevin Owens. Every time you see a picture,
shout out Danny Duggan.
He's got them on all the time. But anyway, back into the show. We had the Authors of Pain taking on Edris, Enofe, and Malik Blade. Went exactly how you think when AOP picks up the win here. Again, under about 3.5 minutes. They hit the Super Collider for the win. Not a whole lot to be said here. It did make me have to see Karrion Kross on NXT television.
I was on my phone the whole time. I didn't even look up until the battering ram segment that led to the finish. So my insight on the match itself was minimal. I was happy to see the champs come out and be like, yeah, we're not scared to fight you, because AOP is very imposing. But again, this is like the second week in a row that Axiom and Fraser have come out and someone else's graphic was playing during their music. What is going on? Is this targeted against the champs?
At this point, yeah, I feel like this is going to be a running gag now. I don't know, if it's
God.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's a rib. Maybe they pissed somebody off in the production truck. I don't know.
Oh, I hope they get over it eventually, but
yeah,
who knows?
Week. We'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But pretty it happened, It's the final testament on NXT right now. But
stop reminding me that the final testament's on NXT. Let's just move on and never speak of them again.
Fair enough. Under penalty of the harshest punishments. After that, we had the second Gigi Dolin and Arianna Grace segment, which we actually discussed already. So that will with her prom dress, which she'll have at spring break next, which was, I guess, here at Hickenbottom High at spring break is also going to have some sort of formal dance then, I guess.
some sort of pageant, I'm assuming, for the new classy Gigi Dolin.
It's just like that scene in The Matrix. What is it, 2, with the orgy and like the entire city of Zion? I imagine that's what NXT is like on a Thursday when nobody's busy. Just judging by the amount of relationships that come out of this place.
It's like backstage for the folks that do all the character work at Disney. That's what I hear.
She's doing a great thing for Gigi Dolin, getting her prepared for the Zion orgy.
Well, we were picturing very different things for what happens after spring break, and I was about to say how I was going to hope they were going to.
I think spring break is a lot closer to the Zion orgy than we'd like to admit to ourselves right now.
No, John. What I wanted was just like the ring in the middle of the pool, like WCW used to do. Wholesome family wrestling entertainment, John.
I guess that was about as wholesome as it got in the 90s. A Kevin Nash in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, doing a cannonball. Like, come on. And that was rough. Like, the fact that he was able to get his knees high up enough to do a cannonball was impressive.
Man, take me back to Zion.
Without tearing a quad.
Well, yeah. It's the water.
And you know what? As far off the rails as some of my rants have taken us over these past few months, I can at least say that I've never gone so far as Zion orgy. So thank you for setting a new bar, John. Appreciate that.
Always.
John doesn't set the bar. He is the bar. The bar.
There we go. Shout out Sheamus. Welcome back.
Tie it all back into wrestling. Sheamus back with his better entrance. But I don't think that's. Oh, Lordy, here we go. All right. So, the last match we'll be discussing tonight, I think, because this was the penultimate event.
Yeah.
But the last match we'll be discussing tonight saw Josh Briggs, who was apparently cleared to wrestle even with broken ribs, taking on Ivar of the Viking Raiders in what was unofficially a number one contenders match for the North American title. Ivar picks up the win here in just over 4 minutes, which was longer. Okay. The
dude has broken ribs.
Which now I don't fucking believe.
Well,
I don't think you're right. It's again, quit doing fake injuries. Stop it. But I was so excited last week. I was so proud of what they were doing with Ivar last week that I made him my megastar of the night last week, because I thought they're finally doing it. They're dropping, at least on NXT, they're dropping the Viking gimmick. He's just going to be a dude. He's just going to go out there and bust the shit out of people. He's going to be a badass biker doing wheel kicks and cartwheels and shit. It's going to be awesome. And I'm so excited. And then last night on Raw, he was a Viking again. I'm like, well, shit. Oh, okay, well, maybe there's separation of shows here. What happens on Raw doesn't really affect what happens on NXT. It's a different world. And then he told him, take off the vest and go put on your war paint. Damn it, Josh Briggs. You know what? I thought they were turning him face. In my mind now, Briggs is a fucking heel, because I blame him. Because I don't think Ivar was going to come out wearing that bullshit gimmick tonight. I think he was just going to come out looking like a normal dude. But no, put on your makeup and take off your vest. At least take off that vest. You look like Aladdin. Little McLovin.
But maybe this was just a 1 week thing because Briggs said, hey, throw on your war paint. It may be that he'll show up next week. If he has a match, then he's got normal attire on. I'm willing to give it a grace period.
I've been burned with it.
That's just my Canadian optimism, though.
Right. I don't know. But as far as the match went, perfectly fine. Like I say, it's all the time. I think Ivar is a great wrestler, a great big man wrestler, which is why he's someone that's good to put Briggs in there with, because, Briggs is a big dude and he needs to learn that big man style. There's a lot of good guys he can learn from. And Ivar certainly on that list. So, but yeah, solid match.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Did he land on Briggs's head during that splash?
I didn't catch that. I did see that on the social medias. Some people saying like he did. It looks like he caught him in the head there on that landing.
Well, hopefully he doesn't have a broken neck now with to go with his broken ribs.
The rib, right? Oh gosh. But yeah, so overall, good match. Little mad that he was a Viking again, but
I mean, it was a very good physical display that both guys looked like $1 million. Yeah. Even though it didn't turn out well for Briggs, but he'll bounce back and give us a classic.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that brings us back full round to where we started the discussion this evening. So CJ, is there any other odds and ends that you want to touch on NXT this evening, or shall we move into our jobber of the night?
I think I'm about ready to wrap things up for tonight.
All right, jobber of the night. All right, so I really just kind of heavily tilted my hat this way. So originally, it was going to be Ridge Holland, but like I'm kind of tired of giving it to Ridge Holland. It's almost perpetually Ridge Holland every time he does a segment. So, in the absence of doing that, I'm going to give it to Briggs for the reason I just said. I'm personally holding Josh Briggs responsible for Ivar being a Viking tonight on NXT television. And this is my reasoning for making him the jobber of the night. It doesn't even matter that you lost, Briggs. That's fine. You can lose to Ivar. He's a main roster cat. That's all right. I get that. That's all right. He should beat you. By all accounts in kayfabe, he should beat you. But I think that he was ready to be himself. He had the confidence to be himself, to come out there and show the world and say, hey, world, this is who I really am. But no, Josh Briggs, you had to just stifle that confidence and cut it off at the knees, didn't you? Fuck you, Josh Briggs. I had to see Viking War Paint because of you. Jobber of the fucking month. CJ, who you got tonight?
I agree that I was also going to go with Ridge Holland, and then even John's point of petty targeting like that would just do us more harm than good. So I'm going to switch to what hopefully doesn't come across like a petty attack, but my jobber of the night is Brindley Reese. And it's solely because of this extremely upbeat character. It does nothing for me, and it negatively impacts my watching of NXT. I came out of this going, I wish I would have fast forwarded through that instead of actually taking the time to watch it. So I gotta go with Brindley Reese as my jobber of the night.
Yeah, absolute fair choice. I think that the character she's doing will make a fantastic heel once they get to that point, and we're not far from it. Because I think it's actually going to. I don't think it's going to be the crowd rejecting her. I think it's a planned thing. I think that the people that she's friends with, including Enofe, I think that they're going to start pushing her away because of how toxic her positivity is. And I think that she's going to lean into that positivity and play that into a heel angle. Because I think that there is something to that. There's something just very it's almost I don't want to say motivational speaker almost, very, very slimy, the kind of the nasty end of a motivational speaker. It's you're a huckster. You're there just make money off people. Yeah. Because you always say there's a good side of these things and a bad side of these things, and she can play that bad side of it where it's almost can we do a good version of what was that thing Simon Dean the Simon Dean did?
Yeah, something like that. I think you've you've turned me around on this, but only if they actually go that route. Yeah, I hope you're right that they're not far off, but maybe they'll just be stubborn and persistent. Yeah. If they're genuinely invested in doing these like TikTok segments, then I'm just gonna keep skipping.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I got the impression tonight that Edris and Malik were starting to get tired of what she's about and the amount of energy she's always bringing, and they've leaned with that a couple times in past vignettes with them as well, and that's one of the reasons why I feel that they're doing it. It's just, again, I think it's just a very slow burn, because that's what Trips and the Heartbreak Kid like to do, is that slow burn.
Do we run the risk of that slow burn turning Blade and Enofe heel? Because I mean, if they do it to the effect of like verbally like yelling at her and like, we're sick of you, like just bullying tactics, is that going to have the opposite?
They will have to try to play that in a way that doesn't garner a lot of sympathy for her. But I think it's going to be, they're going to have a slightly easier time not garnering a lot of sympathy for her, because I think that the general audience finds this character as aggravating as you and I do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope so.
I don't think we're alone.
We're not the outliers.
Like, if we are, let us know. If there's someone out there that thinks this Brindley Reese character is just like the bee's knees, and it's really like, you think this is like main roster women's champion potential, let me know. All right, let us know. Tell us, because I'd love to hear it. But if you can make an argument for it, but no, this to me, I think works better as a heel. But hey, we'll see what they do going forward. But Steve, that being said, who did you have this evening for your megastar of the night?
I had to give it to Javon Evans and Ilja Dragunov.
We're together.
That's it.
On that.
Like, it was a match of the year candidate for me. Like, this was, if there was anybody on the roster that I would say took to wrestling like a duck to water, I would say it's Javon Evans. Like, this is a highly impressive level for someone that we've only seen on the NXT, like the I'm not talking level up, like the black and gold main TV roster that has just picked up on it so naturally since Braun Breaker.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
And Ilja Dragunov is like Ilja Dragunov, so we knew we were going to get a solid match out of him, but I couldn't give the megastar of the night to just Javon Evans. Like, Ilja knew how to make him look like $1 million, and he was like, Javon Evans talented on his own, but Bret Hart was largely the same way. He knew how to make a guy look amazing. So my cap tips to the champ as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it was. I'm right there with you. I had the same answer. You had most of the points I wanted to touch on with that. He's got a big future ahead of him, and this, like you were saying, this was his, again, running through a kayfabe here. This was his second NXT television match, and in your second match, you're in there wrestling the champion. I mean, that just perception alone, the perception alone of that is great for his character. And again, you gotta make it. Don't want to be one of the things that lets it go to his head. Keep him face. You want to keep him happy and bubbly. Like, he hasn't shown a lot of character yet, but he hasn't had the opportunity to do so yet. Again, second real week that he's been on that roster, and he looked great. I look forward to seeing what he does, week in and week out. But yeah, definitely make a star of the night for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hell of a show tonight. Looking really forward to night one of spring break in next week. We got a lot of fun matches they've announced for that. We've got the contract signing between Natty and Lola Vice for their match will be taking place the second night. We've got Trick getting his title match against Ilja on night 1. We've got the women's triple threat match on night 1. So both title matches on night 1. Assuming that means
do we see now we know what's coming for night 1, and as much as I'm looking forward to that, I also just looked at my calendar and realized that week 2 is after the draft.
Oh, that's why they're doing all the title matches that first week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that are we looking at changes on both then?
I'm thinking so.
Okay.
Like
okay.
I would imagine if not night 1, then after the draft, it's like, okay, well, Roxy was drafted, but she retained on night 1. So if we get to night 2 and she has another match, then okay, writing's on the wall.
Yep. That makes a lot.
Any opportunity to throw the graphic up, eh, John?
Tuesday night, Roxy.
I figured I had to say something because Tyler, he was looking at something else. He would have reacted right away.
I had my making sure I touched on everything. I had all my points weren't showing the notes there, but yeah, it was that would make a lot of sense. That makes a lot more sense as to why those matches are on the first week. So yeah, we got the draft in the middle. Is it plug time, John? Is it plug time?
It might be. All
right, I'm gonna start grooving.
Go check out comicbookclick.com/DirtSheetRadio. That's where we live now. It's where you can get your reliable source of professional wrestling news, pop culture news, pretty soon video game news. We got it all on there. We're taking over the fucking world. So make sure to check out comicbookclick.com/DirtSheetRadio. That's where we live. Definitely check out Delphin Pod shows, Delphin Pod podcasts, audio podcasts, specialize in pop culture, cinema, fucking Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, all that good shit, all that good pop culture shit. You know you love it. And centered right in the middle of it, like a tasty. Oh man, I almost went crazy. Basically cream filling. It's Dirt Sheet Radio, the professional wrestling podcast. The original, the flagship, the first, it's on there. Definitely check it out. The latest episode is live. The next episode will be out on Thursday morning on all everywhere podcasts are available. So go check that shit out. Definitely catch Major Issues, the Major Issue show from Comic Book Click, where they cover all types of superhero content, movies, books, posters. You'll spend 2 hours talking about it. Definitely check out Major Issues. Monk.com, promo code DSR10 for all you aromatherapy loving people. The Cold Case Project on YouTube, owned by Nick Rocco's brother Tony. It's hundreds and hundreds of hours of cold case content, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Don't get left behind. Go check out the Cold Case Project on YouTube. And finally, shop DSR on our Shopify store. We got a lot of shit on there, so check it out whenever you can. It's in our link tree, or you can just Google Dirt Sheet Radio Shopify. But that is all from me, gentlemen. Let the people know where they can find you.
CJ.
That's CJ Carter 22 on Twitter. I'm here every Tuesday recapping NXT. I'm here every Friday recapping SmackDown. PLEs for the most part. I'm really looking forward to seeing who Cody Rhodes faces at Backlash. But looking forward to Spring Breakin' next week as well. It's going to be a great show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And hey, as always, I am Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster. It is at PW Hipster on most of your social media platforms, but honestly, Most of the stuff that I do for that's going to be on Facebook, which is The Pro Wrestling Hipster. And of course, you're going to see me here every Tuesday night breaking down NXT, and every Monday night breaking down Raw, and here as well for PLEs and pay-per-views and such. And again, also looking forward to Backlash. Should be a fun show. That's the weekend following my birthday, so always excited about that May show. It's always my birthday show. But yeah, so always lots of fun stuff going on. Looking forward to that. And yeah, Spring Breaking's going to be a hell of a show next week. Good card so far, and I'm sure as the week goes on, we'll get some more things added in there. But hell of a good time tonight, CJ. As always, man. Love breaking down NXT.
Absolutely.
Love it. It's my favorite 2 hours of wrestling every week. No offense, main roster guys, but come on, NXT is what I look forward to getting to watch every week here. But
shout out to our missing co-host Matthew. Had some other duties to take care of, which we look forward to having him back next week, especially for Spring Breaking. But yeah, maybe we'll we only crossed the 90-minute mark this week, so we'll get back up to 2 hours, I'm sure, next week.
Hey, it's going to be a big show, but as we're getting off the air here again, as always, I want to thank everybody that watches us live and on delay. We appreciate y'all so much. Have a wonderful night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Until we yeet again.